Hello, welcome back to At Home with Dia. If you're new here, I'm Dia, an interior designer and home stylist. And on this channel, I share expert tips and creative ideas to help you create a home that's both elegant and practical. Spring is officially here, and with it, an array of fresh flowers and greenery. In my previous video, I shared several centerpiece arrangements using artificial flowers and greenery. If you haven't watched that video, I will link it here and in the description below. Today, I'm celebrating the beauty of real fresh flowers and greenery. I'm sharing easy, budget-friendly arrangements using things I picked up from my local grocery store. These arrangements are quick to pull together, yet are stunning anywhere you use them, whether it be in an entryway, on a coffee table, or a dining table. Before we begin, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to be notified of future videos full of design tips and decorating ideas. Your support encourages me to continue creating videos for you. Now let's dive in to the first fresh floral arrangement. For this arrangement, I'm using a low, wide-mouth plant pot. I stuck felt pads underneath to protect my surfaces. Even though I've sealed the drainage hole, I'm still going to include a plastic liner inside. That way, if I overwater, it won't accidentally seep through. To make sure the plants don't get waterlogged, I add a layer of river rock to the bottom, just enough to cover the base. Then I fill the pot with potting soil. I place the daffodils around the edge of the pot, spacing them out evenly. I top it off with soil and give it a small splash of water so it can settle down around the roots. Next, I top the whole thing with a layer of moss and a few large river rocks. That just dresses it up a bit, but still lets the soil breathe. Then I give it a little bit more water and I place it near a window where it'll get bright, indirect light. Next is a super simple tulip arrangement and a few hacks. I've got 20 tulips, a mason jar, and the mesh bag from a bag of lemons I bought from the grocery store. Now, normally I'll use a rubber band to hold the mesh around the jar, but this time I'm using a mason jar that fits perfectly inside my decorative vase. I just stretch the mesh across the top, screw on the mason lid to hold it tight, and trim off the excess. Here's a tip I learned from my granny. I mix up a solution using sugar, either a teaspoon of sugar or in this case a sugar cube, a tablespoon of distilled white vinegar, and 2 to 3 cups of water. The sugar feeds the flowers and the vinegar helps keep bacteria from building up in the water, which makes the arrangement last longer. I fill the mason jar about halfway with that mix. That's all it needs. Don't put too much water in the vase. Then I measure the tulips against the vase and trim them so they reach about halfway up once they're inside. Here's another tip. Instead of using clippers, I use a clean, sharp knife to slice the whole bunch in one clean motion. Clippers can crush the soft stems of the tulips and make it harder for them to soak up water. I remove most of the lower leaves, especially the ones that might sit below the waterline. Then I slide each one of them one by one into the mesh openings. It spaces them out perfectly. Once that's done, I just drop the whole mason jar right into my decorative vase. It's such a simple arrangement, but depending on the vase you use, it can totally change the look. As you can see, the next day I switched to a different vase that worked better with my coffee table styling. I love how the tulips opened up. You can really see the yellow, red, and that tiny bit of black in the center. For this arrangement, I'm using an oversized fruit bowl I found at HomeGoods. The ruffled edge makes it look really special. So to play off the unique shape, I'm doing an asymmetrical floral arrangement. To protect the bowl, I line the bottom with 3 strips of packing tape. I fold the edge of the first one in so I can peel it off easily later. Next, I take a block of wet floral foam and wrap it in mesh from another produce bag. I secure it with packing tape and then glue it to the bowl with a generous amount of hot glue. Then I mix up a double batch of vinegar, sugar, water combo and pour it in so the foam can soak it up. That's when I realized something's wrong. The foam is not absorbing anything. Turns out I grabbed dry floral foam instead of wet. So now I'll just have to keep watering it every day because I don't have time to go back to the store. Anyway, I'll just keep going. I trim a triple branch of blooming willow and angle it into the foam. Then I take a Japanese pistache branch, remove the lower leaves, trim it, and angle it in so it kind of hugs the willow. I do the same with another branch on the opposite end to create that base shape. From the front, you can really see the structure starting to take shape. Now for the statement flowers, hydrangeas. I trim each stem and slice the bottom inch to help it absorb more water. I stick them into the foam at varied angles and remove any leaves that feel too bulky. Once those are in place, I tuck in some delicate wax flowers for height and to break up the large blooms. They also help define the asymmetrical shape. I step back, adjust, and even add one more hydrangea in the center. And this is where I realize I should have taped the foam down before adding all those flowers. Since I used the wrong foam, it's wobbly. Well, this is not my finest moment. It's definitely a do as I say, not as I do situation. To cover everything up, I finish by adding moss on top of the foam and mesh. Honestly, I think, even with all my mistakes, it still turned out to be a beautiful statement piece for a dining table or a low console. Now on to an arrangement that only takes a few minutes to put together, but is perfect for a nightstand, a powder room counter, or a little corner that just needs a touch of life. I'm using this ikabana dish I picked up at a thrift store last year. If you like this style, I'll link a few similar ones I found online. What makes this dish so easy to work with is the built-in floral frog. No foam, no tape, just water and flowers. I prep a small batch of my usual floral mix, sugar, vinegar, and water, and pour it right in. For this one, I'm using carnations and a few clippings from my garden. I start by placing green stems on either side and back, letting the frog hold them in place. If something feels off, I just lift and reposition it. That's the beauty of using floral frogs. It's easy to adjust. Then I place a large carnation in the lower center to act as a focal point, and a few mini pink carnations around it, each one cut at different heights for variation and interest. Once I'm happy with the balance, I go ahead and style it on the side table in our bedroom. It adds just the right pop of freshness and spring vibe without overwhelming the surface. For the last arrangement, I'm working with the leftover willow branches and wax flowers. So this one's quick, but it still makes a big impact. The key here is the vase. I'm using one with a really interesting pattern and texture, and that's what makes this arrangement feel intentional, even though it's super simple. Now, some decorative vases aren't watertight, so I've dropped in a plastic container with my floral mix already inside it. That'll protect the surface and keep the water from seeping out. To figure out where to trim the branches, I bring the vase to the edge of the counter and eye it from there. I cut the willows at staggered lengths, and even if they're already the right height, I still clip off just a bit. A fresh cut helps the stems take in water and last longer. Once the willow is in, I add the wax flowers. They're shorter than I would have liked, but it still works. I'm going to take this one over to my entry table. Watch me as I style this surface. I love how the height draws the eye up as soon as you walk in, and the mix of textures keep it from feeling too formal. I hope these spring floral arrangements inspired you to bring more fresh flowers and plants into your home this season. There's something so special about decorating with fresh flowers and greenery, especially since nature puts on an amazing show during this season. Let me know in the comments which of these arrangements you liked best, or let me know which are your favorite flowers during the spring season. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't already subscribed, click that subscribe button and the bell notification so you'll be the first to be notified of videos with more design inspiration, decorating tips, and simple ways to elevate your space. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.